Thank you for watching our video interview today with Kate May and Quiet Rebel Bureau. I'm Lyn Thurman, and I'm really excited to have Kate because she is such an inspiring, upbeat, wonderful woman and has got probably loads and loads to tell you. She is the owner of the Mystic River Lounge in Cosham, as well as a teacher. You'll find her at Psychic Sisters in Selfridges in London, but really Kate will probably tell you far more than I can about herself. So welcome, Kate. Thank you so much for being with me today.
Hey, Lyn. Thank you for inviting me. Well, I think I believe, but there you go.
So first off, how are you a quiet rebel? What are you doing that's against the ordinary expectations, you know?
Gosh, let me think. I was trying to think about how I would be a quiet rebel. I don't know massively because I'm a typical tourist, as in I do follow rules, regulation. Or I like to start off following rules, regulations. I like tradition, but I kind of put my own spin on it, I guess. When I first started doing or getting into all the psychic stuff and the development side of things years ago, I started to sign up for courses, and then I would sign them up with friends and didn't have the confidence to go on my own. So I'd sign up for lots and lots of friends, and then they would be like, oh, we can't make it, so then I wouldn't go. And that's kind of been a pattern right from really little. And after a while, I suddenly thought, I'm just missing out. I'm waiting on other people to come with me. I'm missing out on so much, and the years would tick over. So I'll just turn that off the top. So yeah, I just thought, fuck it, I'm going to go on my own. So I just started sign up and go on my own. And that I found much easier, because then there was no pressure of, if someone else didn't want to come, I didn't have to wait for them. If I didn't want to go, I wasn't going to let anyone down. And actually, yeah, it just found it a lot easier to do it on my own. Once I started to then do all the development side of things, I've trained in so many different and had so many different teachers, and then I just put it all together and put my own spin on it, and just took a little bit of that, a little bit of that. And put my own spin on things, and just kind of developed my own way of doing things.
That's really interesting, because for anyone who knows you, I find it quite hard to believe that there was a point in your life where you didn't have the confidence to go to these things by yourself.
No, it's weird, but yeah, it's true. Yeah, I just didn't have the balls to do it. But like I said, after a while, I just thought, oh, I'm fed up with missing out, and I don't like to miss out on things. So I just started going, yeah, on my own. And I don't drive, so that, you know, sometimes that could be an issue. But I was really fortunate. My dad gave me a lift to all the churches when I first started going. And then I just found the buses and the trains. And then as I got to meet new people, they would like offer a lift here and there. So the transport in the end wasn't an issue. And now I just say yes to everything and don't even think about how I'm going to get there. I don't plan a lot now. Even with the Mystic River Lounge, it wasn't planned. In fact, if I'd have thought about it, I would never have done it. If I'd have realised how much work had to go into like all the health and safety sides of a coffee shop, and all the background information, I would never have done it. But because it got kind of landed in our lap through different circumstances, we just found ourselves, Paula and I found ourselves doing it unexpectedly and just going with the flow, really. So the planning doesn't work for me. And yeah, that may be a part of a rebel, that you just don't, for me, if I plan it, it doesn't happen. If I don't, if I just go with the flow, pretty much everything I've done with the work in America with the Psychic Sisters, it's all just kind of happened, really, weirdly.
So for people who don't know, tell us about the Mystic River Lounge.
So the Mystic River Lounge, it's a spiritual coffee shop. With at the front of the shop, it's a regular coffee shop, so anyone can come in and just have the normal teas and coffees and lunches and what have you. And then we've got a little bit of a mystic gift shop. So we have our Mandy coming in, and she brings a lot of our stock in. So we sell the crystals, the cards, the candles, the incense, lots of gifts there. And then at the back, when we had the kitchen and the room designed, so it was just a flat, empty shower when we first got it. So we had it designed and built purposely. We had a room built at the back where we're able to do private reading, so it's off the shop floor, no one can hear, which is what clients obviously want. And we do our one-to-one readings, we do our hypnotherapy, reflexology, Indian head massage, healing, meditations, all from this second purpose-built room. And then in the evenings we have different courses. So we have a psychic development class. I teach the tarot, and we have different workshops at week, different days of the month, ranging from everything from palmistry to mediumship to psychometry, all sorts. We normally get different people to come down and do those. And then we have a different medium each month to do a mediumship demonstration. So the front of the shop gets all changed, so it ends up a little bit theatre style, and then we have the mediums come and do a demonstration. So it's quite a multi-purpose shop.
And none of this was planned?
None of it. But the only thing that was planned was the original part was to have a room. I was doing a development, psychic development class, and we were paying out to hire lots of different community centres and rooms. So I said, let's go and find a base. So I found a base, and it was really just going to be doing the Tuesday evening group. And then obviously to help with the rent, we got some therapists in the day. And then we said, well, we'll turn it into a bit of a healing. I'll just do my one-to-one readings when I'm not doing them at home there. And then we'll turn it into a healing centre. And then events unfolded, and before you I've got other girls coming in, and then someone says, let's open it up as a coffee shop. And we're like, okay, let's do that. And so we had it all built for that, and then it changed, and they weren't part of it, and left Paul and I to be running the coffee shop and doing the healing and doing all the readings. And then a friend of mine had this in Cosham, this base, and her lease had come to an end, so she said, do you want it? Originally I said no, because we could afford to run the two, because our lease wasn't due to finish until now, so 6-7 months later. And then I thought, you know what, fuck it, let's just do it. If it's meant to be, we'll cover it. So it was the best move ever. So we came out of our little base that we had, and then rebuilt all this. But honestly, if I was only talking to someone today, if we'd have read and we'd have thought about it, I would never have done it. We've literally just gone with the flow, and obviously Spirit knew what they were doing, and then it will happen quite easily, really, for us.
So that must be actually being a Taurus and an earth sign, where it's kind of, like you said, that you thrive on kind of like guidelines, and then you act completely in the opposite. I think I've lost you, Kate. Can you still hear me? I think I've temporarily lost Kate. Are you back? I lost you.
Yeah. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can now, yeah. So how do you have that faith and that confidence that things are going to just turn out when maybe your nature is to be a bit more cautious?
I've no idea. I've just trust. I'm a huge believer in trust, and particularly the last 18 months has really tested the trust part of it. And kind of, I was taken out of a situation unexpectedly, put into this situation, and from there it's just, the doors have just opened, and it's been so easy to go with the flow. And normally I would have been a planner, normally I would have researched things, but the last 18 months I've done none of that, and it's worked out in a really good favour. So that's kind of going to be my new motto, just to go with the flow and not plan anything, I guess.
Which goes against every kind of business advice that ever is.
Yeah, don't plan, just do it. Which is funny, because I'm probably telling people the complete opposite. Get all your facts, get all your information, do everything properly. But sometimes if it's meant to be, and I always think, if things are struggling, if there's a struggle, if there's a door that's just not opening, maybe it's not your door, and maybe you're pushing something that isn't the right pathway for you. When things just open up so easy, as they have done recently, and you haven't really got a plan, and you can just go with the flow, it's meant to be. It's already written there, and Spirit are kind of just, it's just a huge trust. I have a massive trust that when things are meant to be in the right way, it all flows naturally. And if things are too difficult, too challenging, then it's not necessarily that it's not meant to be, but maybe not meant to be at that particular moment. And there's things that I'd set up years ago that didn't work, and now they're falling into place now. So yeah, the idea was there, but maybe the timing weren't right. So it's just, I've got to practice what I preach. So obviously I'm a spiritualist, and I have a huge trust in the faith. And it's just, it's worked for me. So I'd say to people, go with the flow a little bit more. Take a chill pill, go with the flow.
So since the 18th month since your life changed course a little bit and you've gone with faith, what has opened up for you?
Oh, lots of different things. So being here, we've met so many new people, so many new customers, and I'm from Cosham, so this is just literally 5 minutes away from me. And these people are Cosham based or local, and I didn't even know them. And I've been in the field for a long, long time. And yeah, the doors have just opened where people have reconnected. People that I lost contact with in the past for whatever reason have come back. New people have come in. There's the Psychic Sisters work in London. That was quite fluky. I met a lady, I kind of had a contact with a lady, Jane, who runs it anyway, years back when I was doing the cruises. And then I met a lady who, a friend of mine started working for her. So I just said back last year in February, I'll get us a job, like you do. And then nothing come up, you know, I am quite ballsy. I don't care about asking for things, or, you know, people can only say no. I said to her, get us a job. And then she said, well, she's not really taking anyone on at the moment, but I'll see. And then it was about 5 months later, I was in LA, and I thought, oh, actually, I feel like emailing her now. So I emailed her and just said, oh, I know so-and-so that works for you. Can I have a job? And at the same time, I then sent an email to my friend and said, oh, I've just emailed Jane. And she said, oh, my God, you're so spooky. She's literally on her way to LA now. She's in the air. And I've just sent her a message. Wow. So then I re-messaged her that you're in LA, I'm in LA. Do you want to hook up for a cup of tea? And have a chat? And she agreed, and we met. And then a couple of months later, there I am working in her shop. So yeah, that was so easy, and just, you know, the right timing. And just the America stuff that come about, that was so easy. We were trying to get a gap because my partner Colin, he'd done lots of work in America and he'd lived out there, and he always wanted to go back. So I was trying to get him back out there to help him. And somebody had said, yeah, we'll help it for you, and then that never materialized. So we tried to find some different ways of doing it, and I don't know anyone in America. His family that were in America aren't into the spiritual stuff as we are, so that was a no-go. And then I just kept seeing little signs. So every time I put the telly on, there was an advert for California. My son came home from shopping, bought a new t-shirt with California. I got an email from someone, can you do me a reading yet? Where are you from? California. So all these little signs are happening within the last couple of weeks before we were going. And then Colin did a reading for a lady, and he wasn't even meant to be doing her. She swapped her ticket so that she could get him. And after the reading, she said to him, I know someone who lives in California. Do you and Kate fancy going out there? I think it would be really good. And then it just went from there. I contacted her, and it was just so easy. Then I said, oh, okay, but I haven't got the money for it. And then the lady said, well, you'll get the money. And I'm not kidding. Within 2 hours of her saying that, I got a PPI letter through the door, which more than covered the cost of it. So again, and it happened so easy. And then we've been out there a few times, met some wonderful people, and we've been going out there for about 18 months now, and we've got it all set up what we do. So it hasn't even taken time to build. It's so it's just really, really easy. So all the doors that way, everything just started to flow once I came. As one door closes, one door opens, and as one door did close, so many others opened, which has been really good, really great.
So for people that maybe are feeling a little bit stuck and not feeling like they've got a clear direction, do you believe that the universe is trying to give them signs all the time, you know, to change course, to steer direction?
Definitely. I do think that if you don't listen to your intuition or the spirit, your guides, whatever you want to call it, and you keep repeating patterns and you keep going through the same thing that's just giving you a block back, you know, you're hitting a brick wall all the time, I do think they intervene, and they will make it harder for you. They're like, you're not listening to the first time, so we're going to give you something more difficult. You're not listening again, so we're going to throw another rubbish. And then people think, why is all this bad stuff happening to me? Why do I keep having to go through all this? Everyone else has got it easy. Why am I having to keep going through all this bad crap? Why do bad things happen to me? And actually, if they re-look at it and if they take themselves out of the situation, then what they might see is that they're repeating the same patterns, and spirit are just saying you're not on the right path. So we're going to make it difficult because you're not taking notice the first or the second time that we've done it for you. So we're going to make it even more difficult for you. Then you'll come back, you'll regroup, and hopefully go down the right path, and then everything starts to go with the flow. So I definitely think if those doors aren't meant to open, or if things are too challenging, then yeah, there's a sign in that, really. And it's hard to accept when something doesn't work, especially if it's a new job or a new relationship, new idea. You really, really want it to work, but things shouldn't be difficult. They shouldn't. Yes, you've got to learn. Your soul's got to grow, so you've got to have your challenges. But if you keep going through it and going through it, and you're not learning from your mistakes, you keep repeating things, you're not listening somewhere. So there's personal responsibility to, hold on a minute, what's not working? Regroup and open a different door, I think.
How would you suggest that people do open their intuition a bit more if they're not used to it? If their life isn't working and it's a bit painful, how, in easy baby steps, how could they become more intuitive?
I think meditation, time out meditation is huge. And just meditating in the power, just sitting in the power, not going off on lots of fancy journeys, not trying to connect to all the people, just literally sitting in and building your own power, building your relationship with your guide, and just working on your breath and starting to know yourself, starting to understand how you work, understand what works for you, what makes you feel good, what doesn't make you feel good. And a lot of it, there's a little bit of soul searching in it, and some of it's not easy because it might bring up things from the past, or you might just have to really admit to yourself that you fucked up, that you made some mistakes, that you did wrong, that you said some things that you shouldn't have said. And you might have to admit all of that, but once you do, it's so empowering to realise, you know what, I shouldn't have done that, I shouldn't have said that, I'm going to own that, and I'm not going to let it happen again. Then things just start to happen. But meditation for your own intuition, your intuition will get a little bit pickled if you're not being true to yourself. So being authentic, being true to yourself. I mean, as you do, a lot of spiritual people or claim to be spiritual people, and then they're going around gossiping, or they're going around saying this and that. That's not being a true to themselves. They're preaching one thing and then they're going to do something else. Their life is going to have pickles that way. So it's about being honest, being truthful, owning your shit and dealing with it. And then, like I say, regrouping, meditate, find your soul, find what makes you happy, and learn from your mistakes. And then the only way really is forward.
Absolutely. Do you think our society as it stands makes it more difficult for us to actually get into that place, to tap into our intuition?
Only if you let it, I think. I'm in a really good position that I'm self-employed, so I can be very flexible. I know that people work jobs that they don't like, and they've got the family life, so things can get a bit chaotic. So it's not as easy as I make it. But by doing little steps, by making little changes, if you're not happy, what is it you're not happy about? Change it. If it's your job and it pays your bills, but you're not being happy, and maybe look at ways where you change your bills. Maybe look at ways where you pay off some debts. You don't have so many bills going out, so then you can get a job that isn't as high paid, but you're going to be happier. Making just little steps like that. So I think society does make it difficult if you let it. But if you're going to blame everyone else and everything else, and you don't take that personal responsibility, you're never going to be properly true, or you're never going to be in that place where you can be completely happy. But I know it is easier said than done. But you can look and make 2-3 minutes a day of meditating, 2-3 minutes a day of just breathing, and just collecting your thoughts. And it took me a long time to be able to meditate properly, literally about 10 years on and off, to be able to stay in the focus and not to drift, not to go shopping and all the rest of it. So it is with that, but I have to practice what I preach, otherwise I'd be quite crap, wouldn't I, really?
So what are your plans for the future? Where are you going?
I'm not planning.
You're not?
There's a few things in the pipeline. I can't say too much because I can't. But there is a few things in the pipeline. But I'm in a really, really happy place at the moment. Everything's going well. So even if things don't take off as they could, and I just stay as I am, it's all good. So I'm not really planning. In fact, the only thing that I probably would change a little bit, I have swapped some of my evening courses to weekends so that I can be at home more with the family, because it gets ever so busy now. So that's the only thing I've planned, is to cut back a little bit on work and to spend more time with the kids. But it'll probably go out the window, as all my plans do. So I will end up just...
So what I want to know is, because every time I see you, you're always really happy and you're always really busy. How do you find all the time and energy to do that? I mean, I want to know, Kate. I want to tap some of this off.
I think it's just like finding truth within and being authentic and being honest, and knowing your faults and knowing what makes you happy, and just sort of doing that. I'm just super lucky, really super lucky. I've got really good people around me, and I've always had, I've always been quite lucky with, even in a shitty situation, I can make a positive out of it. So years and years ago, when I had a proper job, if you like, I was a proper job worker. I was a manager, and only half of them liked me. I wasn't very nice, and I had lots of everything went wrong for me. If I went out to the shops, I'd be stuck in a queue for 4 hours. If I was on the phone to someone, I'd be stuck on hold. Loads of things. I was seeing all the negatives, and then I don't know what happened, but I just started to think, people would come to me. I was a manager, so people would come to me for refunds, and I'd be like, oh, I'm going to make you wait for 5 minutes just because I can. Job's worth. So I would go off and like muck about and do my own thing, and then come back and I'd be like, no, I'm not giving you a refund. Really asked. And then I just suddenly thought, what about if I'm nice to people? What happens if I'm nice to people? So I started to change that, and I had to be conscious about it. It wasn't natural. I wasn't always a complete bitch. It was just like little pockets there. But there was something in that I remember changing and thinking, what if when they come through the door, I say, yeah, sure. So I started to say, yeah, no problem. Yeah, it's not my shop, is it? I'll give you a refund. Yeah. And I started to help people and just be a lot more. And if people wanted time off, yeah, sure, we'll work it out. And if I was in a queue, I'd start to see, okay, so I'm in a queue for 4 hours. What can I do? So I'd be looking around, looking at all the nice colours, the pretty pictures, or I'd go on my phone and I'd make some texts. So I was using the time positive. And just gradually, by turning the negatives into a positive, it just had a huge effect on everything. And now it's second knowledge to be second life, to just do things in a positive way, and like attracts like. So if you're shitty to people, expect that back. Simple as that. And yeah, so I just stay happy by being nice, I guess. Now I do sound like an angel, do I? But I'm not. I mean, I've had failures. Obviously, my marriage failed. I wasn't particularly nice in the marriage. He wasn't particularly nice either. And from an outside point of view, probably people thought, wow, she's like this. But behind closed door, yeah, I weren't the nicest person with him sometimes. And that reflected, I got it back from him, he got it from me. But that changed. And again, I learned from that. I learned behaviour. I learned how to treat people from that as well. So I guess it's all just about learning and accepting, like I said, accepting your faults, owning them. And if you're not happy with something, just changing it, really. But I'm just in a good position that I do see the positives out of the bad stuff. I do see like that silver lining on things. I do look at the cup half full, not half empty, all the time, and it's second nature now. I don't even have to think about it, and just being kind is amazing. The work that I do anyway, you want to help people. I hope that I do own my spiritual beliefs in that kindness and thinking of others. You have to put yourself first sometimes. It can't always be for everybody else, but there's a balance with it, and it just works.
Brilliant. Well, tell me how people can find you and how people can work with you.
So I have two websites. I have my main one, which is www.katemay.co.uk, and then obviously the lounge, www.mysticriverlounge.co.uk. I do all my readings, unless it's party readings, at the lounge now. I don't do any from home, which is great because I don't have to clean up then. So it's 117 High Street, Cosham. So if you're in Cosham High Street in Portsmouth and you want to swing by, we do lots of different things. Like I say, it's all on the website or our Facebook pages, and the Facebook Kate May. You can find me on there.
Brilliant. And you make a really good cup of coffee, I have to admit.
That's a real surprise because everyone else says I'm shit at coffee.
Actually, it might have been Paula that made it.
Yeah, it's probably Paula. It's not my forte, I have to say.
So thank you so much for your time today, Kate. It has been an absolute pleasure, and keep doing what you're doing and don't plan anymore, because I can't wait to see what unfolds for you next.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a surprise, but like this whole year's been a surprise, so who knows what's coming next.
Thank you, and thank you everyone for watching or listening, and stay tuned for the next episode.